Here we go, everybody. Let me say hello, Generation W, and welcome to Refresh. In case you don't know us, this is a time where we connect, get inspired, learn something new, and ultimately feel a bit better about ourselves and the time we get to spend together. And I hope everyone is doing great today, or at least in another 5 minutes, you'll even I will need to be doing better. I have been looking forward to today's refresh because who doesn't want to feel good? And who doesn't want to do good? I mean, I know I do. And as Thanksgiving is coming, one of my favorite holidays, I'm not sure about yours, it's around the corner, and we have a lot to be thankful for. I don't know. I think the theme of today aligns with gratitude as well. How often do you run across people who just stop you in your tracks? And there could be many good reasons for that. But for me, there are times that I meet individuals who are just doing good things, primarily because they're good people. I think my admiration for these people says something to me about what I value in life. People who have the opportunity or even don't create the opportunity to do something for others. And that's something I really value. And I have to tell you, I was watching CBS Morning the other day, and there was a Dr. Arthur Brooks from Harvard, a professor, and he teaches the happiness class. And he offered this equation on happiness. If you want to write this down, it's worth it. He said that happiness equals enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. Happiness equals enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. So if doing good also includes, and I'm going to ask all three of these great women who are with us today, if they experience enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning, then it's easy to say that this work produces happiness. Supporting that feeling, right? If you're happy, right? Feeling good and doing good. And these women who you're going to meet today are doing great. And they show us all that we can all find a way to happiness, right? In helping others, elevating those around us. I think it's great. So I just want to welcome and join me in welcoming Andrea Siracusa, who is the Senior Director of Community Relations at Dreams Come True. Karen Jolicoeur is the Executive Director of Creative Arts Works in New York City. And as the Director of the Partnership for Child Health, Andrea Bannister is working to create an integrated system of care through collaborative partnerships that transform communities and young children's lives. Ladies, welcome today. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, great. All right, saying hello to everybody as they join us. So great. Remember, our community here, one of the beauties of Refresh is the opportunity to connect directly. Just please load in your comments, your questions, and we will engage with you as we continue to have a conversation. So I did not purposely give more detail to each of the organizations you have because I thought it would be best coming from you. So why don't we start with you, Karen? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing up there in New York City.
Yeah, hi. Well, here at Creative Artworks, we are empowering New York City kids, teens, and young adults through the visual and multimedia arts. Everything we do is designed to equip our young people with essential tools and skills that frequently, given some circumstances here, they might otherwise lack the access to. We build connections to academic life, communities, and career potential, and hopefully inspire new ideas for the future.
Why art?
Why art? That's a great question. I have a performing arts background myself, and there's a lot that's similar across the arts disciplines about the creative process. Visual arts may get short shrift in some educational circumstances here, but there's so much about art that connects. We are a creative youth development organization, as distinct or overlapping with arts education. There are many capacities involved in visual art making that translate beautifully to development as a future citizen, as a creative thinker, as a problem solver, as a collaborator. Little things like confronting frustration when the materials don't do what you intended for them to do, turning mistakes into opportunities, persistence through an iterative process. So there's much about the visual arts that helps expand our awareness and our capabilities as humans.
That's fantastic. All right, we're going to come back because we're going to also want to hear about your Carnegie Hall singing career. Andrea, I'm not sure that you have a Carnegie Hall singing career, but you probably have other things equally impressive.
Yeah.
So, Andrea, tell us about your organization.
Yeah, I definitely am not a singer, so don't ask me to sing. Yes, absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. I am with Dreams Come True of Jacksonville. We're located here in Northeast Florida, and we are the locally based dream granting organization for children here in Northeast Florida who are battling life-threatening medical conditions. So we're actually celebrating this year 40 years of granting dreams for children right here in Florida's Northeast area. And we're about to grant, hopefully very soon, our 5,000th dream. And our whole mission is to use that power of a dream, whether it be a trip to like New York or to see snow, meet a celebrity, or even a puppy for a child. The power of that dream brings hope and joy back into the lives of our children and their families. And we've been doing that, as mentioned, since 1984. And we're just so honored to have that opportunity here just to bring all of those unforgettable memories into these children's lives and their families.
Yeah, and the way we found, I don't know how we found each other, but we had an extraordinary experience with our Generation Wow girls.
Mhm.
Came and spent a Saturday, right? These are our teen girls in our leadership and mentorship program. And I would say that they came away really touched by being able to interact with your program.
Well, and that's the wonderful thing about who we are and what we do is that we have so many opportunities that people can feel the joy that we feel every day by connecting with our families, whether through volunteering or coming to an event. You'll see here some pictures of our families on their dream trips and just what it means to them. But we always are very passionate about other people getting to see what we see on a daily basis and not just us experiencing it, but everybody in our community being part of that. Because without our community support, we would not survive and our children would not see their dreams thrive.
Right. And right, and we want to see that happen for sure. All right, Andrea, your story is you are creating something from scratch right now, right? You are building something. Tell us a little bit about your story coming to America and then wanting to make a difference.
Oh, I love that coming to America. So, our organization is called the Partnership for Child Health, and we build systems of care to ensure the health and well-being of youth and their families. It is a multifaceted program. So I am one of the directors within the program, and throughout the program, we have the diversion that diverts kids from getting into the juvenile justice system. And we have my program, Building a Resilient Jacksonville System of Care. We also have Hope Court. So we have multiple programs, but my program focuses on Health Zone 1, which I love because Health Zone 1 in Jacksonville is one of the areas that struggles financially. Many of the youth and families there struggle financially. And so one of the programs that I am most proud of right now is the youth and family hubs we are creating within Health Zone 1. And within those hubs, we have many programs. We have therapists who come in and speak to our youth, pro-social behavior that helps parents work with their kids better. We have dance, we have art, we have mixed martial arts through a program called Play, Preventing Long-Term Anger and Aggression in Youth, developed by Dr. Stevenson. And so what we do is we have this program close to youth and families who can just walk to our program so we can do away with the issue of transportation. These kids come, they know that they're treated like family, that we give them snacks, we spoil them, we love on them, and then we send them back home.
That's amazing. So how do the kids, let me ask you this. Today we did focus on all programs that are helping kids, right? And you each have obviously different segments of our kids' population. You're geographically different. Obviously, Andrea, the population you deal with is also a distinct population. How do they find you? How do you find them? And is that an issue?
So for me, one thing that I do is we actually canvass the neighborhoods. So we walk around in the neighborhoods and let them know face to face, talk to the parents and tell them what we're doing. We share it on social media. It's a lot of it is by word of mouth. And we, of course, give flyers and such. But I found one of the main ways is to really get up there face to face on the ground with the family so that they know who you are. They know that they can trust you with their children. And I also believe that they also know it's a no judgment zone. So when we speak to them, they're happy to bring the kids because they've already gotten to know us.
And I can speak on our side from a medical standpoint. We have amazing community partners, medical partners here in Northeast Florida. Wolfson's Children's, Nemours, Brooks, Shands, Community Peds Care that work actually directly with us to refer children who have been diagnosed with those life-threatening medical conditions, because they're the ones who are caring for our children. They're in the hospitals and clinics, and the ones who are deeming their condition to be life-threatening. But at the same time, there's other private physicians who probably don't work out of those facilities. And so we work really hard for our community to know who we are, because you may have a neighbor who has a child who just moved here, or maybe is getting treatment and doesn't go to one of those facilities and is eligible for a dream. And we just want to find ways to connect with that family to be able to connect with their medical partner, because it really does take all of us. And we don't want to miss any child here in our community.
Mhm. We too survive and thrive on our partnerships. We don't have program space of our own at Creative Artworks. We put all of our programs into partner venues. And part of it, Andrea, is really that bit about meeting our kids where they live and study, because a bus pass in two directions for a parent can be prohibitive to participation, and we really are about access in equity and access in everything that we do. So we partner with schools, we partner with community-based organizations, youth justice facing organizations that also have diversion programs, career and technical education high schools in partnership with their work-based learning requirements. It's all these relationships with really vital partners who are doing good work and help us meet the kids where they are.
So you're all doing great work, but so we want to know more about you, right? This community, we want to know what was your motivation? What made you raise your hand to want to be in a difference-making, child-focused, elevating, I guess, job?
Well, I'll start. Well, I actually, my whole education degree was in marketing and PR, and I went to an agency and I thought, okay, I'm going to work for celebrities. I'm going to do these big campaigns. And then I got to work with nonprofits, and I got to see how hard the staff and the community works to support a family, a child, elderly, animals, whoever it may be. And I grew up here in Jacksonville. I was born and raised here. I still live here. I'm not gonna probably leave here. And so I believe very heavily in our community. And when I saw all the hard work that went in to these nonprofits, I felt I needed to be there. I needed to be behind the scenes help. I need to give all the passion, drive, knowledge I can give to actually help others, not to I would say line people's pocketbooks or sell a product. I need to help motivate people to give back, because if we are not giving back as a community, there's so many people who are losing out. And unfortunately, I don't have children, and unfortunately, I probably will not be able to have children. These are my children. These are the kids that I get to work with, the families, and get to know that, there's people out there who need our support. And if I have the ability to do it, I want to do it. And if that's what my working day is, 365 days, 24/7, then I feel better, and I know I can make a difference and help others do that too.
And let me just say this, I want to hear from both of our other colleagues here. There's a lot of scientific research about brain hormonal, chemical and hormonal um, chemistry that speaks to our ability to feel better, lower our stress, all of those kind of good things when we're actually actively engaged in helping other people.
Mhm.
So you guys are probably the coolest, calmest, right? That's how it all works.
Well, not when there's an event around.
I
That's
get
the only
that.
difference there.
I get that. Andrea, I know that you walked kind of the streets to try to start figuring this out, right? You walked around, saw what was happening in a neighborhood. What drew you to that?
So, well, I will say for me, I grew up with a very loving and protecting parents. but I went to a school much like Reebok was back in the day. I hear a lot of people talking about it, and the changes you see at those schools and how they are progressed and doing better. It's kind of what I would have wanted to see at my old school, but I couldn't because I was a child. So I said when I became an adult, I would make the changes that I couldn't as a child. And so walking the streets, like you said, and just being around Jacksonville, I used to be a teacher. My mom and dad were teachers here, and seeing from the struggles that the parents are having and the kids are having, it drew me to the Partnership for Child Health, because building a resilient Jacksonville system of care, what better job could I possibly have? So when I found out about this job and I spoke to Vicky Wadowich, which is the executive director, I thought this was a dream come true, because I am literally getting paid to do exactly what I said I wanted to do as a child.
Really? So this has been in you for a very long time.
Yes, I was raised with it. I have a family that most of us work with young people, and so being able to do this work and being able to do it and being able to have the freedom, because with this job I have the freedom to be creative, to do the things that I see are most needed in the community, which is important.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Karen, you were a headliner. You were a headliner.
Oh, I don't know if it was quite that glamorous.
Well,
but,
when you sing in Carnegie Hall, right? That's
yeah,
pretty, and Lincoln Center. That's pretty. So
it's very rewarding work when you get to do it, and it's also sort of Olympic in the competition. And so I did start performing professionally at the age of 18, and went to music school, a couple degrees there, and came to New York as a classical singer, but still, had what I jokingly call my accidental business career along the way, just surviving. And I am not very good at putting my head down. I really dig into wherever I am. And ultimately, after having my second child, met my husband singing abroad. We put down roots in Upper Manhattan and decided to raise the kids here, and took some time to bring the business experience and the experience in the arts together, and start doing development for a music organization that had an expansive arts education program. And having kids of my own, got involved in the New York City public school system, and just wanted to bring all of that passion to bear on bringing resources to education, and specifically arts education, as a tool for empowerment and developing self-efficacy and agency in kids.
that's amazing. Let me ask you, like, I'm not sure of all the different, what are you guys are seeing in kids today? Are you seeing any themes? They're growing up in a different world, certainly than I did. I would say certainly than you did, right? Um,
Well,
what do you, what are you hearing from our kids? I'm just curious.
I was gonna say, when you first said, the first thing that comes to mind that I think touches me a lot is that when we talk to our children about their dreams, and it's for what they want, what are they dreaming of? They've been going through this. The one thing that we are constantly hearing is that it's not just about them, what they want to do for others, like their family, whether it's their siblings, their parents, a grandparent who's watching, or them. I mean, so many of our dreams recently have been, well, why did you pick that? Well, because I want my family to be able to experience this with me, or they've never been to it. It's not a me, me, me. It's I want this for all of us. And I love seeing that and seeing how that's growing. And I think it just gives, more depth to who our kids are, and how they are, and how they're overcoming things. But at the same time, they're continuing to remember all those that are around them, their families, and everybody who's played a part in their journey. So, I mean, the minute you asked that, that's the first thing that came to mind. Is I just love hearing that they're truly thinking about others, even when they're going through this.
And that is amazing, right? Because we're hearing so much more about the insular nature, the individualized focus that we have, and yet we all know that our collective health is based on our collective connectivity. And again, so much to support that as well. What are you hearing, Andrea?
I would say more than just hearing what I'm feeling when I'm around the kids is the need to have people there. You would think that they need the video games and all of this other special stuff, but really, they just need to have adults who care about them there. You talk about connectivity, and within the Partnership for Child Health, that's what we do. We are connecting on different aspects of the community, and we're working together as directors to help with those needs. And one of the major needs is just be there with us, talk to us. I'm thinking of one young man who most of the kids that I work with call me, or I'm around, call me Miss Andrea. And I stopped him and from doing something, and he said, bruh. And I was like, what? But that same child who at times is challenging is excited when he sees us, all of us. And so the fact that whether he calls me bruh or Miss Andrea, whether he's acting up or he is the perfect angel for the day, he knows that we show up every day. And across the Partnership for Child Health, with all of our programs, we show up every day, whether it's protecting kids from the justice system or protecting kids from not having the missing some of the social determinants of health that they need. We are there for them. And I think that's what they need more than anything else.
I think I would say that we see that when young people are invited to dig into their own education and their own ideas and offer up their own ideas, that they are really, they blossom in that environment. We want to be the antidote to the systems which might need to stuff them with content to bubble in on a test and that sort of thing. So certainly maybe more so here in New York City than where you all are. There was quite a bit of disruption from the pandemic and the shutdown and the disconnection that came from that. Some of the tools that we all rail against, the screens, were a really important piece of maintaining those connections. And it was definitely bumpy coming back into being in community with each other face to face. But the pendulum really is swinging back, and our kids are really passionate, and they're also fierce advocates for each other. That is what is so heartening to see about our young people today. They really will stick their necks out for each other and advocate for each other in ways they're passionate.
I have to just say, recently we hosted 2 of our WOW programs for over 1,000 girls in 2 cities. And one of the things that we continue to hear from them is being wowed by, one, being surrounded by all these girls, and 2, the connectivity. Like, normally they're like, oh, they're shy. We say you have to talk to people you don't know. No, we don't want to. And at the end, the feedback has been in other programs, well, what's the best part? We got to meet people that we didn't know. And I think that does say a lot. I really do. So I think it's great. I know for us and for me, working with our girls fills me in a way that I can't even express. And there is this halo effect on how I look at the world, how I feel about the world. So in that, because all of you are leading organizations that obviously need volunteers, we have a lot of people who are interested in you personally, because some of them know you. So we have, or even Abby. Abby says, I sing and play acoustic guitar, entertain memory care residents at several senior living communities in the Jacksonville area. It's very rewarding. And I'm sure she has that halo effect. Alifia, hi, how are you? She's now mentoring at Take Stock in Children with you, Andrea. And Desiree says she loves your passion. What kind of advice would you give to people on how to engage, right? You're sitting home, you're overwhelmed with work, maybe your family. For me, my parents aren't as healthy as they were. I feel like every second of a day that I might have, I need to go help them. But if I wanted to do something, what kind of guidance or advice that you would recommend for me to take on to kind of build those muscles of community engagement, happiness?
Well, I always say do what you are passionate about, what really calls to you. If it's the arts, if it's working with children, if it's working with animals, we are, as human, we want to do what we are passionate about and what we feel we get a reward from. And I think I always tell everybody that I speak with is that if your passion is putting on an event because you're like an event planner, you like to get everything together, you like to get people gather, help with that. Or if you're a person who's like, I don't want to, just want to sit in and I love paperwork, Wonderful, do paperwork. But I think at the end of the day, I think it really just, what do you have a passion for? We have one volunteer. She is so creative in her ability to create clothing, to create bags with her own hands. And that is what she loves. She is calming for her. It feels great to her. And that's the way she loves to give back. And that's the way we can use. So I think people, if you have something that you love to do and you love to focus on, you're going to be more passionate to continue it and to see it all the way through, which at the end of the day, and I think I can speak for them too, it helps us at nonprofits to have people who can help us through those processes and feel very passionate and feel they really completed something at the end.
Okay, so your advice is find your passion point and then find a organization that is looking for some help and step in and help them.
Correct.
All right, that sounds good. How about you, Karen?
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about how frequently we get called on outside of our jobs to provide expertise. And so building on what you were saying, Andrea, I think it's nice to do something that maybe isn't so aligned with your day to day and stretches you a little bit, and that really fills the well, something that's going to kind of break up the rhythm and maybe scratch an itch that you haven't investigated in a while. And in addition to organizations like ours, and there are many, I think about life here in New York City, where we are shoulder to shoulder with everybody all the time. And it's these little moments of kindness and reaching out that we take for granted. A mother carrying a bag and pushing a stroller will get to the stairs at a subway station, and a total stranger without batting an eyelash will pick up the bottom of the stroller, carry it to the bottom, and walk along with their day. And there's just this moment of connection and contribution. People fight over giving the best directions and helping people with their packages, and on and on. And that feeds my soul to see these little gifts of people doing good that make our life special and livable here. So you can start small without a large commitment to, you know, every weekend for the next 6 months, and grow those muscles. And as you realize how great it feels, you just look for more opportunities all the time.
Yeah, muscles like Alexis, who supports victims of Hurricane Helene, organized a raffle to raise funds, offering business products and services as prizes, and raised over $500 in 24 hours. Way to go. And Drew, best moments are meeting people where they are, genuinely showing care and compassion to their needs and doing the best we can to communicate towards practical acts of creative expression and joy. And I know, Drew, you totally are super intentional about that, right? Totally. Andrea, what about you?
I would say just do something because
Oh, I
we
like
have
just like it's a
just
Nike ad, just do it.
just
I
do
like
it, you know, like when we started my program is through a grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration through the Kids Hope Alliance. And the grant has wonderful opportunities, but there are things you can't do. And so I'm thinking, well, what can I do? And so I just started. And once I started, it showed up. So we have other people who have collaborated with us, such as AI Squared, Coke Florida, Simply Healthcare. We have Publix donations because I couldn't figure out how to feed the kids. So I met with different people and they just said, hey, I'll join in. I wanted to provide reading for kids. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, this one of the ladies from one of our church hubs said, hey, I would like to read with the kids without me asking. So if you just do it, everything else shows up.
Yeah, I think that's important. I just want to, we always have a little refresh in the middle of refresh. Welcome everybody to Refresh. If you joined us a little late today, this is all about feeling good by doing good, with Thanksgiving just around the corner. It's a sense of gratitude and reinforcing the fact that giving, actually you get more than you give at the end of the day. That's not why we do it, but don't you love that as a benefit? I wanted to share with all of you a little research study. I don't know how many of you get Axios, but there was this research where they gave people $5 a day. I don't know if you saw this, for 5 days, and people were instructed to spend the same every day. Half the people were instructed to like buy a cup of coffee. For me, it'd be a cup of tea, and the others was giving money to somebody else. And interestingly enough, everybody started with similar happiness levels, right? They were feeling good about they had this extra money and they can deploy it. But ultimately, it diminished day by day. But those who gave their money away felt as much joy doing it on the 5th day as on the first.
Mhm.
Wasn't that cool? Right?
Yes.
And then
Can
there
I
was,
add,
I know,
and
and then, go ahead, yeah.
So something that I'm thinking that's pretty easy for people to do if they wish to. We and our organizations are all coming into year end. If there's a small organization in your community that you love what they do, if you reach out to them and ask how you can help at year end, frequently there are opportunities to create a little mini fundraiser of your own on behalf of that organization. And it doesn't have to be just about opening your wallet, but inviting other people to join you and put a little something behind the passion that you have for that organization, and they will really appreciate you for it.
Right, absolutely. And it doesn't even have to be always organizationally driven, right? I know there's probably friends that need help. I have several of those right now that you want to spend time with, or family that needs help in a certain way. All of those kind of things all add to personal betterment, that, and also community connectivity. I think you said that beautifully, Karen, earlier about in one of your comments about how important it is for all of us to be connected. And I don't think we can say it enough, honestly. I don't think we are so busy sometimes. I don't think we have the time or patience to recognize it.
And I was gonna say too, and I think someone brought a comment just a moment ago. A lot of people think when supporting, if you're looking on the organization side of it, is that it's always got to be financial. It has to be a donation. You have to do an event. We have said so many times here, and I know many nonprofits agree, is that it's just building the awareness, letting people know, do you know we have this amazing organization in our community that does this? Did you know how long they've been here? Kind of opening those doors and letting people know, because you never know what comes from that. It can come a referral for us, like a child that could possibly be missed because they're not being treated at a local facility, or it could be someone who just did not know what to do with this in-kind item they had in their house just sitting there, and they're like, where do I go? What do I do with this? And then at the end of the day, they feel better. But sometimes it's not always the financial. It's just helping to spread the mission and the statements that we give out to everybody, because a lot of us, we are a very small staff too. We all don't have like 1,000 people out there on the ground telling our
Right.
story. So it always helps to try to get those words out.
Right. And as much as today is about sharing your great work and you as great people taking on and leading that work, we're also trying to send the message to our whole community here that there is an upside. There's a way to enhance your life by doing good. And Sherry shared some research. Again, I'm going to share it with you. But there is a hormone called oxytocin that's in our brain, and actually, it's called the love hormone. And it gets elevated when we do good things. They also can call it, it creates this love, this wave of happiness. And what happens when we feel that is there's improved mental health. Volunteering can lead to greater life satisfaction, decreased depression, and improved well-being. So in those moments when you feel low, actually the best thing you can do is to step out of where you are and go help someone else. I know it maybe that's counterintuitive, but it really does help you. Increase feelings of well-being, right? We say to our girls all the time, who thinks they can change the world? And some of them change, some like they probably think they have to cure an illness, right? Or solve the climate. We say just commit an act of kindness. Really, that changes the world. And then the last one is reducing stress. And I know all of us need that. I do believe that our world is so sped up, but generosity increases feel-good hormones like serotonin, dopamine, and as I said again, oxytocin, while reducing the stress hormone cortisol. So there's all this scientific benefit. So as everybody here is listening and we're enjoying learning about the work that you do, and maybe we want to contribute to that work or other work, just that daily do good, create a kindness routine, right? Or a kindness habit. Maybe that's what we should launch here on Refresh and Generation W. We should do a kindness habit program. I know that doesn't sound like good in words, but whatever. Let's see. I know all of you wanted to leave us with something special. So Sherry, perhaps you can share that. feel good by doing good. Why don't we start with you, Andrea?
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead. Yeah, so no, definitely here. I mean, this quote here about grand dreams and providing the support during moments in between. I mean, it's really to focus on there's so many things that everybody's going through, not just here at our organization and the children we work with, your friends, your family. And so really think beyond just what you see that they're going through and how you can help in so many different ways. Because as we've said so many times here, one little act of kindness does a great thing for them, but it can also work wonders for you at the same time.
right, exactly. Totally, totally, totally. Right on point. Karen, Andrea?
Andrea, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, mine was walk in faith, hope with tenacity, and love with abandon. And I think of a verse that is very close to me, and it says, love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and then love others as you love yourself. So it helps me in walking in faith no matter what I see, even if it seems impossible. And then loving others as you love yourself. And it doesn't say depending on how they treat you, because that doesn't matter. What matters is loving on people. And especially, I'll put a plug in for these kids in our community.
Yes. And in your community, absolutely. They're so lucky to have you. In everybody's community, there are kids worth loving on, right? Always, 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 always. And they need us. They need our love. And Karen, are you going to
Yeah.
sing to us before we leave today or what? I'm not.
Yeah, so I said prioritize candor, kindness, and connection. And one of the ways that we demonstrate our faith in the kids that we serve is to entrust them with the ability to incorporate honest feedback, which is a great bridge for connection. Kids, and you asked how kids are these days, they recognize a hollow head pat all day long. And they also can recognize real teaching and imparting feedback about their own work as making an investment in them, and then they trust their own resilience and make that investment back in themselves. So we believe that feedback is a gift here, and that's incorporated in our practices.
That's awesome. How many kids do you have in New York City? How big a program is this?
So we serve over 2,500 young people here in the city every year through the 4 core programs that we run: in school, out of school time, community art making, and the public art youth employment program we touched on earlier.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think this is Minnie up here. A Minnie, I think this is Minnie. I believe as a people, we also have to be advocates of each other's self-care. Vicarious trauma is real, and doing the awesome work and looking at what everyone brings to the community is necessary for growth and sustainability. Wow, that's powerful. So while we are caring for others, right, we have to make sure we're caring for each other as well and ourselves, because this work actually, as much as it lifts us up, it also can drain a little bit of us at the same time. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, when you hear the stories, you see what our families go through, you become part of their family, you become part of their sadness, but the whole point is to replace it with happiness. But it does take a lot out of you, and you really do have to focus on yourself. And it can be hard to do because sometimes you're like, oh, wait, I don't want to be selfish. I got to take care and help this family. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help them.
Yeah.
So you
And-
really do.
Right. Absolutely. And that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Well, I just want to thank all of you. I think just hearing your stories, what you're doing, as I said when I started, it stops me in admiration for people who take the time. You're dedicating your lives, but also providing opportunities for all of us to contribute in our communities, reminding us that that is something that's really powerful. I want to wish everybody here a happy holidays. But before I do, I want to remind you that we are full steam ahead preparing for Generation W Explore. That's our new theme. And we're hoping all of you, because all of you have exploring in your heart, will join us on March 28th in Jacksonville, Florida. If you're not here, we do have an incredible streaming opportunity, but it's always great to be in community. And we're going to explore within, without, and beyond. We have some amazing speakers we'll soon be announcing very shortly, some great workshops, and we look forward to you joining us. Refresh will be back in January. So we're going to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holidays. We put together a lineup of great guests. If any of you, some of our regulars, I saw Joy came late, I see Lori's here. Anybody who's here who has an idea from someone or a topic they would like to engage in with us, please send it to info@genwnow.com. info@genw.com, because honestly, this is about our community, what's of interest to us, what we want to engage with, how we want to spend our time, and we live to be we live to be of service. So thank you so much for that. And I guess to round it up, I'd like to thank Sherry Levin for another great season. When we do return, we will be celebrating our 100th episode of Refresh. Yes, it seems like yesterday that we started, but 100. So we'll be announcing special guests, and we're going to want to, have everybody come and join us to celebrate the fact that we can bring together a community, learn together, be inspired together, and just celebrate who we are. In closing, I want to thank Andrea for offering Think Beyond What's in Front of You and how we can help. Andrea, what matters is love, and Karen, that how feedback is a gift. All three of you are a gift. Our entire Generation W community is a gift. Thank you to our Generation W team. Lewis, great job. Sherry, as always, your passion is difference making. Take care, everybody.